Hi Johnny's, hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Realistically, welcome to my productive YouTube face. What did I say about YouTube face? I did say I forget to use my teeth when I use my lips when I'm saying YouTube face. There we go. I think I got that spell direction right, which I completely directed it, and that's why I kind of forgot to try realize I wasn't even paying attention to spell that name. So that's like I ended up forgetting to change the spelling. That doesn't cause me to get mistaken or misunderstood. It's just something people might not, people might not, you know, they might not associate what you think, how you spell this way, because you might think they misspell it in a different way. That's like you're explaining about being the neurodivergence doesn't always mean that we are acting like aliens. We are not acting like aliens. We're acting like human creatures, which means we are socially adaptively. We get to encourage the transformations to try release the energy of the sensory burnouts. That's why you gotta try to learn how to be empathetic about you reason why do you want to have a good nature on how to accept that self-identifications doesn't always necessarily prove you are the best at socializing. That's just because you're learning to reach out for support where you can get the idea to transformulate to relate to the compassion what you guys can enjoy and let you guys wonder what you like to watch. So that's like watching for entertainment, trying to have a serum of a banter and getting to know you guys better. Like something like that you have to be mindful of. Like that's just because you just don't know how to pay attention to realize that's just your personality that works out to be you, who you want to be. That's just the basics. You just got to admit it. Like sometimes, even though I ever got like on medication, sometimes that didn't make me feel like myself because I felt like I was acting like I was really depressed, or I feel like I was acting like I was a masking completely. That was going to make me feel different, like making me think I'm going to become indifferent, and making me think I'm going to become inhuman. Like that's not because I'm always deniably not even chosen to be this way. That's because I'm just not even accepting the transformation from not being able to informatively organize that decision making. That's just the reasons that could be really difficult to understand why the challenges and it's never going to get easier. That's because you're always overthinking. You're doing not overthinking. That's like your brain is trying to work out itself to solve the problems. That's the reason you don't know what to expect, that you don't know what to expect where you can no longer to reach out for help and something to do with having help with support. That's because when you get in support, that's why I'm having my coffee to keep me calm. Because since I was in that game, I did get with the agitated after I seen my friends on my life and I think, oh, that guy's playing shit ball. How's he doing? What's he up to? No, that's not how it works. It's just because it's just here to see me, to make sure I'm okay, to make sure that I'm not struggling with depression, because I do have depression. That's why I was asking for a cure for autism. That's why I was acting delusional. I didn't realize how I didn't even pay attention to learn to be actively neurodivergent. That's because I'm not even learning to try choose to be who I am. That's not because I'm declining that reason not to be this character. That's because I really wanted to change how the medication has impacted my personality, and that's like the behavior has improved because it made my life a bit easier, and that's why I don't want to get too worried about discussing that. So let's get to the video. But yeah, guys, I don't know if I can maybe go for a walk. I might try to do a learning video soon because I don't think I might be capable of making learning videos anytime soon. And I'm feeling energetic, if I'm feeling more like myself, because I still don't feel like myself because I'm talking too fast. So if I talk less, I might feel like myself. I might talk less when I'm feel like myself. So that's why I can't talk when I'm making learning videos, but I'm really talking too fast or much or being too much or being excessively unimportant. Like you know what I mean? So yeah, that's why I don't want to be completely elected by being rejected by our audience who don't want to watch my videos because I don't think that's interesting. I think they find it boring to watch my content because I don't think my followers doesn't associate with associate with the description. That doesn't even follow the plan. It doesn't even get connected to the routine. That doesn't have to become a problem error. That's just sometimes you have to learn how to visualize how to look in the mirror to effectively see who you are. That's because your whole self creation means you have a good self-identical awards, which you will become very wishy, which you will become very more likely to be positive rather than being negative. That's like you got to like try learn to just try be yourself and try not to overthink about the drama because sometimes it can actually over traumatize your mind, which can actually cause your brain to overwork itself. But that's why you got to try to try be happy and enjoy life for the way it is. Like, you've got to go out there also the community to find friendships and get relationships in the future. That's what I'm trying to complete, trying to learn to get there. I'm trying to learn to get used to all that. That's because I don't want to cause any problems for my mental health. So I don't want to end up causing the communication, which can no longer to produce the energy lines where I can no longer lash out at others. That's because I'm not even dynamically not even trying to be self-absorbed. I don't want to compress my own depressive reasons for the thoughts are not real. That's because they tell me lies about my not having autism as a cause. People think autism didn't occur. No, it doesn't. Because that's why accepting your autism is a way to escape the anxiety. That's like you got to remember to try realize the world doesn't revolve around us. It revolves around how our minds views the world as a different way of experiencing the different challenges from atypical people. That's just the reason. That's also saying because I'm talking excessively, because sometimes I don't even know how to realize I'm talking much more, which I could easily get more engaged by the high level qualifications, or the context of the anxieties can be overwhelmingly exhausting due to burnouts. Because when you burn out yourself, you don't want to burn out yourself, because sometimes you could actually get completely adrenergic, which can cause your mind to blow away from the techniques that used to be that way. That's because you're using that energy intensely, that you don't know how to pay attention to the limitations, because your body is not even responding to stress. That's why you get really anxious, where you get really uncomfortable, because you get really stressed. That's the reason. That's the reason that could be really difficult. Is that sometimes you got to remember to try link it while then over visualizing the past. You got to just ignore the past. You don't need to focus on it. You don't need to just keep overthinking about that, because that's just the thoughts telling you lies. You see what I mean? So that's like you should talk about your past all the time. You have to talk about your future. Learn to be neutral rather than being negative or positive, because that could be really hard to deal with the traits that people but who don't have autism can deal with that. And that's like they have to learn to do it in a harder way. Like you don't need to do it in the easier way, because if we're doing the easier way, life can get harder. So sometimes exchanges doesn't always happen overnight. That's like because you don't learn how to be automatic to change, what your thinking is telling you about, like how your traits or your tragic backstory, that doesn't ever tell people what you think about yourself. It's just sometimes you don't understand how to realize some things doesn't get better. Like over the long run, even when you're on medication, it can easily distort your mind, because it can impair it, and that's why it can actually impair your memory, because you won't be able to focus on your concentration. That can get really completely overhooked, which can actually cause you to get unhinged. And that's why you shouldn't ever be on medication for the rest of your life, because this could be really unhealthy. It could be a bad habit, but you think about it, for the second. You always need to try relax throughout your mindset, to try calm down the thoughts, so you can stop the racing thoughts from kicking in. And that's why the coffee does help it a wee bit. It does help my anxiety. It helps you to reduce it, because when it's productively changing this option, because it's just it won't be a fairy tale that doesn't always come up the way as it goes, from just always making up stories. It's not because always people who have autism don't always make up stories. It's just because they have a hard time to realise to pay attention to what the body's signals are telling them to try to relax, or if I'm thinking they're going to be able to get agitated, if I'm thinking they're going to be able to get really anxious. And that's why you feel like you don't know how to realise, how to expect, how to change the format, is to try to learn who the person is, and that's you. That's because you have to look in the mirror and reflect it and say, right, I haven't been under the mistakes of my own returning experience, because the parents are false, because they're not telling you something that's not going to be true doesn't mean it's not going to be false. It's just because you have a hard time to believe in that that's something that doesn't come up your reason to be false. That's because you learn to be truthful, to know how to accept your own self-identification, so you know who you are, this person that you are today. See, that's how it works. So that's why I was just trying to talk about that for a second. So just want to get over my chest to say thank you so much for supporting, for those watching my videos and my content. Appreciate for the love and respect, and give you the dignity and give you the dedication awards that I deserve to get. But in the future, maybe my channel will get monetized. You never know. So that's like you got to try remember to try to accept that tradition, which can easily try introducing or try relax the mind, so you can be able to get rid of the anxiety, so you could be able to get rid of this negative thoughts, so it doesn't cause you to get over the shadows, because you don't want to always have to look in the mirror and say, right, I failed the test because I'm never going to be able to get successful in the future, because I'm not going to be able to get in a prospective job, which is going to actually cause you to get really completely depressed, because you don't want to get really negatively impacted by it. That's why you got to remember to try be happy, be humble, and just learn to try accept the embracements, to just not to get too negatively impacted by being depressed, because you can always talk about negative about who you awesome is about to do, is about being rejected by all the people around you, that you just need to move on from all that drama, because it's become traumatic, which can actually cause bad changes. That's why you got to learn to try relax your own destiny, to try relieve their beliefs, and try not overthink it, because you don't want to get delusional thinking, oh, it's not going to be cool for awesome. No, it's not going to be cool for awesome, because it's not just finished cool. Don't be ridiculous, because that is why you have to learn to try. Always remember to just be happy to be autistic. That's how it works. That's because if you think about this for a second, if you think about this for a second, you think that sometimes rejecting to be autistic is not healthy, because it can actually cause better health issues, which can actually cause burnouts. And that's what you have to remember, to try not be neglected by the intense energy, because it can actually deplete it. Because this is the reasons, because it can be really challenging for you to understand. That's because you're not accepting, embracing your own personal individual. That's because you're still not sure what you're doing personally. You're still not sure what you're going to do for your plan future. That's because your life doesn't mean it gets ruined up the day that can cause you to be messed up. That's because you learn to do it in a harder way. That's what I'm saying. That's what I did, guys. I'm trying to play the game, going live and playing Cheetah. And that's why I think my talk's over, guys. If we go to the questions, similar, what you guys think about my talking relations, what you think about my compassions, about my observance. Like, just similar what you think about my coastal pathway to get to understand about my opinions about, like, how my character is about me. It's not always about my generation, my personalization. That's because I'm learning to do it in a harder way, because I can appreciate to expect that's not going to get impacted, because I'm not going to be able to cause a big change to my mood. So it's because sometimes experience mood swings doesn't mean I'm crazy. That's just sometimes because being autistic doesn't always necessarily show that you're being a uncaring person. That's because you're being overly friendly. That's why you're depressed, you're masking it, holding it in, bottling up your emotions. Not healthy. Don't do that, because you don't want to end up being a bad circle. So neither do I. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna close my YouTube stuff. Thanks so much. If you got comments, give me your suggestions, because I'm gonna do my maybe go for a walk or not. I don't know. So if I'm talking too fast, because my I'll try to stop talking about it now, because I need to stop talking about this bit. I need to fix my purpose again, because I don't want to upload longer videos after I'm longer than 60 minutes. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Just let me know what you think, and give me your opinion. If you think you want me to see me go back to doing learning videos, let me know about your experiences, so you could be able to learn to be, like, just to learn to just be neurologically, just learning to just find ways to communicate with the idea. You don't have to generally forget about that. That's because you have to learn to try find the reasons to try organize that future pathway, and try not ignore your anxiety, because it's not healthy. So don't do that. Just don't do that, and just accept to be embraced. And just enjoy being involved with the autistic community, because I enjoy being in this lifetime. That's part of the life. Always remember that. That's how you have to just remain calm and be yourself. And that's all I end the sentence, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope this video helps, or even hope this talking motivation helps. I hope this reminds you who you are today. You'll be very happy. So don't worry about that. Just trust yourself, trust your gut. Alright, guys. See you later.